mic ready before anybody else brings it up. The mic is on. We're not muted. I didn't mess it up. You all messed it up. We all know the rules. I get the 8 people that we have the joy of roasting today. They're going to go into the chat. Despite how early it is, we're going to give them a few minutes, and then we're going to get into it. What's up, Troper? What's up, Akari? Welcome to the stream. Calamity, you're here. Link, I love you too, my friend. Thank you for coming by the stream. D2 Vincent, you are here. Requiem, you are here. Beautiful. So we still need Crab, Lalo, Roosh, Rick Dom, and Captain. What's up, Fortuna the Tuna? I love that name. Rick Dom is here. Wonderful. We'll give it maybe until like 107 to make it a nice and arbitrary number, and then we will start with Calamity if Captain has not appeared by then. Okay, Crab, you're here. Lovely. So I think all we are waiting on now is Lalo, Roosh, and Captain. Michael, thank you for coming by this stream. So what we're starting with today is deck roasting. This is deck roasting for some of our Patreon subscribers. We have 8 people today who have submitted decks for me to review. I think 6 of them are in the chat already, so we're giving everyone else like 2 or 3 more minutes. Are the Marvel cards I've been seeing spoilers, or was there an official reveal of some sort? They revealed that, I don't know how it counts, because they revealed them at an event. And the lingo around what counts as an official spoiler or not feels very paparazzi-esque to me, because they did a fucking slideshow at some physical event. And so they're all out there, which I feel like is official spoilers. It was a secret lair revealed at a con, I think. That makes sense to me, although it can't just be a secret lair because some of these are new cards. When the hell did it get revealed that we're getting multiple Marvel sets? Oh, my dear Troper, they told us like a year ago we were getting multiple. Did you not watch Deadpool and Wolverine? Tell their fucking 90, Troper. We are getting a Marvel set every year until you louts stop fucking buying them, which is gonna be never, based on the initial Marvel cards I've seen. Till they're fucking 90. I saw these Marvel cards and I was like, oh no, they're all playable. Oh, that's... That's horrible for the game if they're all going to be playable. I mean, I don't know, Michael, not a fan of the mechanically unique cards in Secret Lair. I don't think they're really... Like, this is Universes Beyond, not really Secret Lair. They might have Secret Lair on the tin, but this is like fully multiple commanders and multiple backup cards for those commanders that are from Marvel. So that's much more than a Secret Lair drop. I thought the Marvel cards in the Secret Lair were part of the set dropping later. That makes sense to me, because there were some cards that were just Secret Lairs, and I think they used those as an excuse to show off everything in the Marvel Universes Beyond that were coming later. I'll probably just pick up Iron Man and put Karnstrucks in it for no reason. Karnstrucks would probably be the weaker way to build the new Iron Man card, is the funniest thing. I think Karnstrucks would be the way to power it down, since you're sacrificing so many artifacts and Karnstrucks want you to have more. Comic-Con announced Secret Lair unique cards. So how is that different than Universes Beyond is my question. That's not really a question to you. I guess that's really a question to the universe and whatever lich is at the helm of WotC right now. If you're saying, oh, it's a Secret Lair, but it's also cards that we made up just for this Secret Lair with another property, right? It's almost like we're reaching into a universe beyond our own to get those cards, right? So how the fuck is that? How the fuck is that not just a Universes Beyond? because they're grouped up by theme. I think, yeah, but how about, Rick, let me spell out a different umbrella for you. Marvel. How about that theme? This is everything as Kicker, but for card releases? Yeah. I'm glad I have the choice to never interact with Marvel cards. You seen the Storm card? No, you don't. Everyone's going to be playing that shit. Have you seen the Black Panther? Who they made white? I'm not going to say anything more about that. They're getting... you're not going to have the choice to not interact with those. Kushantic, class is going to begin in a second. I don't think Captain's here, so we're going to open up with Calamity, who is here. Wait, is that the racist fan Storm card or the normal Storm card? Troper, how online do you think I am? How online do you think I am that you think I know what the racist fan art Storm card is? I barely know. Before I get into the fucking pit with you guys, I go on my phone and I Google latest MTG news so that I don't look like an asshole. Other than that, I have no idea what's going on. Storm is so fair. I'm going to see what you say about that as soon as one extra turn spell hits the stack. People talking about, oh, I'm going to get my Storm count so high. Oh, I'm going to make this 1 4-mana spell Storm like 10 times. You need a Storm count of 1? You need a Storm count of 1? And you need a extra turn spell or a extra combat spell, and they're all cooked. Okay, Captain, you're here. If Calamity has to shove off soon, we will start with Calamity. So let's hop into this shit. For anybody... ASMR done. For anybody who's not been here before, the deck roasting streams involve sending me a deck list, a primer, which is a description of what you think your deck does, and a power rating from silly to spooky to scary, and then what the deck does in one word. Most of what you're going to be judged on is your primer. If you tell me the deck does one thing and it fails to do that thing or clearly does something else, I will be mean to you because you've lied to me and that's wrong and therefore justifies any harm I bring upon you. Terribly Tired, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. So first up, we've got Calamity with a silly deck. Oh, beautiful. And it is a Foghorn Maldhorn voice request. So I'm going to pull the deck list up, and then we're going to get into this voice. Said. I do declare Chaotic Evil Productions. I, in fact, line up the schedule that every stream I think you show up to, which does, in fact, happen to be Saturdays at 1:11 p.m. PST and Thursdays at 5:32 p.m. PST. I make sure that we have a Foghorn Maldhorn roast lined up for you. What's up, Rex Burgess? Thank you for coming to the Twitch stream. So this deck, just a bunch of rebels shitting out other rebels. Deck in one word is rebellious. Nice touch. It's not a phase, Mom. Jank, Kindred, mono white rebels. Awesome. Okay. So we get to search our library for a rebel permanent card with mana value X or less, straight to the battlefield, then shuffle. One of the fairest tutor effects in the game, I reckon, on account of every rebel being unplayable dog shit. Oh, shoot, Rick Dom. Alright, we'll get through Calamity and then do you. So a 2/2 that can only be blocked by artifact creatures and white creatures, and it's 3 mana. That'll keep up with Craterhoof for sure. That'll, you know what? Bristly Bill can't hang with this dog shit. What's Bristly Bill gonna do against the 2/2? Slicey McStabbin, thank you for the prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. And Church of Chovy, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome to the dog home. And Talamar Von Geist, thank you for the 14 months in a row. You are ancient indeed, but ancient in my heart. And Beefcake Emperor, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Welcome to dog heaven, my friend. All right, adversary. Ah, yes, my favorite angel. 8 mana. 8 mana. Fuck you. Get away from me. The 8 mana no square. Well-known rebel. Maybe off the flavor text, imprisoned at the Hell Vault. Maybe she's a political prisoner. I'll try to give you that one. I don't doubt the deck needs it. Sacrifice them to gain life equal to the life you've lost this turn. Okay. 1 mana quick save. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him. Tutor for rebels. When he blocks at end of combat, destroy it. Okay, so this is like... This is almost Death Touch. This is almost Death Touch. Tap target creature with toughness 2 or less. Okay, we've got Bizarro Sir Mix-a-Lot. Another apparently honorary rebel. If it would be destroyed, regenerate it. I mean, this one is at least a hand you can repeatedly hold up as they beat you to death. This deck is very, very bad, but it was very fun when I played it in Gen Pop. I mean, there is a special energy, I think, to just bringing a bag of trash and dumping it onto the table. Sometimes that's what we want to do. Sometimes we want to all go out and pick up a local park and then fight each other with the tin cans and used diapers that we've found on the ground. And then as soon as things begin to go wrong, we go, nope, and we phase out of fucking reality for some reason. Oh, and you have Crackerhoof. You know, the more I look at these, this man looks like he should be starring in a musical, not in an army. And Sun Titan. You know, yeah, the more I look at these, the more I am drawn to the idea of these you do have at least two random 8 mana, yeah, 2 random 8 mana honorary rebels, but decks like these need those. I don't know if you all have ever been trapped in a game of casual EDH where people don't have random 8 mana fuck you cards, but those games are what's known colloquially as purgatory. You are put there as a punishment, and when you leave that game, you are left with a brand on your soul that tells you, alright, next game, if I have 10 lands to tap, I better tap them for something well and goddamn serious. And so, I'm amicable to something that is otherwise very on theme and truly terrible. Truly terrible. Tropa, your Italia Primal Conqueror is not fine. It was not done in Riz, it was done in cringe. And most importantly, the deck doesn't take these cards and then go, okay, how can I cheat them out? The deck doesn't go, Calamity, you're not helping me. Calamity, you are not helping me right now. God damn it. God damn it, my man. I was with you. I mean, this is just responsible ramp. I was with you for so long. And then that's my real estate investment. I've purchased the sun. I've purchased a small slice of land on the sun, and it's going to empower this terrible, terrible Dune cosplay my deck is doing. Alright, and then your interaction is all quite good, which I think what could be more white than colonizing and gentrifying the sun and all available real estate? Very true. Wabah, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Yeah, land tax, very strong ramp. Honor of the pure, that's a little racist. Cathar... Honestly, if you win with Cathar's Crusade, I think that's just living long enough to see yourself become the villain. I don't know if you can feel good about a Cathar's Crusade win when you're playing the Rebels deck. What the hell? Ah! Bless me. Bless me. Fuck you, Nostril, I win. See here, this is some good, fair, and on flavor interaction. This is 3 mana, no attack and no blocking. And then True Conviction also works. Let's see how this play tests before we give our final judgment. Four, 5, 6, 7. Almost there. Almost there. I mean, I guess we'll play her at this point. Who cares? Alright, turn. Land pass until Avacyn. The exact experience this deck wanted to have. This actually does compel me even more that the deck is a very good Dune themed deck. You just land pass until the big white savior arrives. And then it gets real disgusting. Why do we have snow plains? Do we want to be shot by Break the Ice? Tropa, please do not pretend that the average person knows what Break the Ice is. Break the Ice. Rick Dom, that's a tremendous point. Calamity, I think you have a tremendous, not only impetus, but you have a moral calling to find a worm you can put in this deck. You have Ava Dweeb, and you have Maud Shaker Cavalry. You need Shai-Hulud. If you get a Shai-Hulud, I think you have a very competent Dune deck on your hands. Elder Land Worm comes to mind. Yeah, you need, hey, you need this. You need this right now. You need Shai-Hulud. Isn't Command Tower just objectively worse than another planes with extra planar lands? Yes, but consider it's a commander deck, so we put in Command Tower because we don't read. I mean, there's definitely, you do have a little bit of hand grenade in the pool noodle syndrome, but so much of the deck is so on that in this case, I will stand by it because I have played against decks like these and I have played with decks like these, and listen to me when I tell you right now, when I tell you thusly, decks like these are one card that says lifelink away from the game literally never ending. I've had games like this where it's all well and good until 4 hours in, we all mutually scoop because nobody, and I mean nobody, can establish any type of winning board state because we've all tried so hard to play fair Magic in a format with 3 motherfuckers with 40 life to work with. And so in this case, I think a couple hand grenades are necessary to make sure that bodies do hit the floor. I think Moonshaker Cavalry is a very good out to give things flying. I think Avacyn Angel of Hope is also a relatively good out to make everything indestructible. I think everything else is just a big old pile of trash. You certainly do not have enough card draw. I think what you have 2 pieces. You got 2 pieces of card draw in the entire deck, but that is probably the Gen Pop level you're playing at. Sorry, 3 pieces. Cut a deal. Cut a deal. I do love Bizarro Sir Mix-a-Lot tapping down them little booties. I also like how most rebels appear to be, most of these rebels appear to be a non-stop chain of tutoring for other rebels. It is that one, whatever TikTok audio was like, no, he roped me into this, no, he roped me into this. It's just the Spider-Man meme pointing, hoping that one time we'll find a rebel card that's actually good, and they just tutor chain down, and we go, oh, nope, it's all 1/1s. It's all 1/1s and 2/2s. We're fucked. We're fucked. Where's Avacyn? All of these cards are just deck thinning so that we draw Avacyn Angel of Hope. pyramid scheme deck, indeed. It is a pyramid scheme. Also, I hate this art. I just gotta sprinkle that on top. I love you, Calamity. That's just a me thing. I hate this art so much. Toxic Deluge for 3 basically ends the game. True, Toxic Deluge for 3, you do just die. Unless you have Honor of the Pure, the incredibly questionable mono white card. And then you need the Toxic Deluge for 4, you smug piece of shit. I like this. It's unwieldy. It's unwieldy. It's inefficient. It is Dune. Crib swap. Oh, okay, it's removal. Alright, alright. It's like we are getting funky in here. Oh, yes. This is like 1998 draft. This is 1998 draft gameplay right here. And then we begin deck thinning. It's just anything. Who even cares what rebel we get? Sure, Pious Warrior. Who cares? Next turn, do it again. Anything that's not Avacyn, get it out of the deck. Get it out of the deck. And we keep going. We keep going to our next turn until we draw Avacyn. Sure, you're not Avacyn. Sure, you're not Avacyn. God damn it. Where are you? Sure, you're not Avacyn. Calamity, I hate to tell you this, the deck might be terrible. It's been 13 turns and we've not drawn Avacyn. If you want to imagine, chair's back up now, shocker. If you want to imagine Magic the Gathering as like a movie, or your Commander games as a movie, this is an old 5-hour French art film. And then at the very end, there's a bloody, bloody massacre whenever we do draw any of the good cards. Mirror Entity could win if nobody responded to this. If nobody responded to this and nobody board wiped you, yeah, Mirror Entity locks this shit up. But this is... I think the most impressive part of this deck is that I would struggle to make a deck that could play fairly against it and not just beat it to death hopelessly. Mirror Entity and dudes can sometimes win if everyone else is too busy shooting their feet to play MTG. So the process. All right, tell me the process, and then we're going to move on to Rick Dom, and then we'll go back to Captain. There are 3 other people. Do you just little bean they ignore you? Okay, yes, you little bean your way into Mirror Entity for 10. I understand that gambit well. I do it quite often. Then I win. That is true to life. All the established hegemony ignores the growing rebel forces and then eventually finds piss in their Cheerios. It's a tale as old as time. You only look at decks from Patreon. Yes, currently the deck roasts are only available as a Patreon redeem because it would simply take too much time to open up free entries. As it stands, these are currently, I spend more time on this than I do on anything else on a weekly basis. Mirror Entity is the fairest Craterhoof there is. Autopirate, I accept that singular assertion, but it's kind of like telling me that Mirror Entity is the most moral billionaire. You're not wrong in your relative ranking of them, but the premise is ridiculous on its face. Oh, and the I don't know about this one. I think we're gonna have to bring this one before the court martial. 2 mana and a white to tap and exile a black creature. I don't know how rebels are racist. There we go. All right. I see it. In that case, I guess you're good if you own it. That won't fly in the year of our Lord 2024. With Teferi watching, we're just exiling all the black cards. This really is just a non-stop loop. This deck is a non-stop loop of I call my big brother and I hope my big brother or big sister or little brother or little sister can handle it, and they cannot, but they can get their little brother or their big brother or their little sister or their big sister, and then eventually Sun Titan can bring them back, start the loop over again, and then at some point Avacyn gets here and it's all okay. I'm gonna put you here, Calamity. I think we both know this is where you belong. You belong if you draw Avacyn, the deck is hot. It creates an imposing. The deck is like in terms of the type of rebellion that your deck is presenting. If you don't draw Avacyn and it's just a bunch of white rebels who don't really do anything, your deck is the Confederacy. If you do draw Avacyn, your deck is suddenly the Viet Cong. That is how drastic the switch is between the two types of rebels that you can be, depending on if they are all immortal or not. Is you are either the Confederacy or you are Viet fucking Nam, and there is no in between. Calamity, thank you for submitting. We're going to move on to Rick Dom, as I have made promises. And we're going back to the normal voice for this one. So Rick Dom's deck is also silly. Defeating your opponents from 40 too easy for you. Make it a challenge by trying to end them from effectively 100 life while also annoying them and making yourself a big target in the process. Start up your paper mill to turn raw, unprocessed decks into the finest artisanal graveyards around. All decks are equal in this one. No targeted mill, each opponent on every mill effect. Deck is stacked with creature pump, direct burn, and evasive creatures on top of other ways to mill each opponent and draw more mill sources. Pumps are even made to scale off of lands and other stuff to keep things dangerous. Watch out though. Side effect of this aggression means not a lot of blockers tend to be left up. Sideboard is full of cards I'm considering for the deck. Oh hell yeah, it's my boy. I have a very Rick Dom, I love that you're using him because I love him as a creature. I have a tremendous disdain or lack of belief in Mindskinner as the commander itself, because I think this effect is much better paired with a different color. And so, but I'm willing to let you cook. Mind skinamarinking these nuts. Troper, I think you need to have a little bit of a lie down. Acquisitions Department. On ETB or attack, draw 2, discard. So this is our card draw. Power toughness equal to cards in hand. Whenever dealt damage, draw that many cards. Cost reduces card draw. Whenever you attack with 2 or more, card draw. ETB or attack, card draw. This is the first piece of card draw that I really like. Proph's Eidetic Memory is such a sack of shit. Oh, I detect a scary card in the silly deck. I detect an immediate two different deck syndrome happening. We'll see. I'm not going to write your name in stone yet, but I'm already detecting that it might be a little bit different. I can take it out, but honestly, I had one lying around. Okay, so now we have to veer off course for the reason I think Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus actually got banned. One thing that came up a lot when people were talking about the bans is the feels bad of the financial aspect for the people who pulled it and didn't sell. So all the people that opened Mana Crypts in Ixalan, the people that opened Jeweled Lotuses in Modern Horizons 3, the people that opened both from the mystery boosters. And I think one of the reasons the rules committee had to take action to ban them, and one of the reasons that the cards were filtering down to playgroups that they quote unquote shouldn't have been at, is because of the very specific mind virus that infects all of us, that infects every single one of us, is the idea that, oh, if I have it, it doesn't change the deck's power level if I just had it. It only changes the deck's power level if I go buy it. You silly guy. I don't even think this happens as a malevolent urge. I want to study this like Jane Goodall and the apes watching casual commander tables, but there's a lot of like, oh, I build the deck to be fair, and then I see some crack, and so I smoke it. Or I built the deck to be fair, and like at the dump, I found a plutonium rod, and it happened to be enriched. Like, what was I gonna do? Leave it out? I had it, bro. I was thinking I don't want to leave this lying around unused. And I think that's part of the mind virus. Oh, you're being made up today, Mavanger? All right, then for now, you're going to go at the end, but if we have to move things around, we can try to move things around. Okay, so then Tome of Legends. Or 4 mana to repeatably draw a card. I like that we can at least repeatably draw one. Seagate's fine. Commander ETB or attack. The thing that I dislike about the card draw section is that everything you have in here, apart from Rhystic Study and Profs, Rhystic Study, Profs, and Spectral Sailor is either conditional or really expensive. Late in the game, when you have 5 islands to spend, sure, you can drop Body of Knowledge and hold it up as a blocker. You can drop Defiler of Dreams. You can cast Overlord of the Flood Pits, not as an enchantment. Or I guess you can Impending him for 3 mana. But a lot of what your card draw section says to me is, whatever my opening hand is, I'm rocking with that for the next 45 minutes. Whatever happened in this opening hand, who fucking cares? It's going down. That's all we're doing. Which can leave you open to some very unwieldy game plans. Backup Commander is good. Employee Health Plan. I think, yeah, Totem Armor is very, very important because for some reason people don't like this guy. He's small and cute, but he does die to a stiff wind. Okay, so 7 pieces of protection. Mill Security. You have some of the most creative categorizations I have seen in my life, Rick. Basic counterspell I'm cool with. Mana Drain's a little rough, but you are mono blue, so what else are you supposed to do? Cyclonic Rift is hilarious. You can't block my guy anyway, but get this shit out of here, please. Get this shit straight out of here. Mill Staff. Alright, a 3 mana thing that's going to grow for islands. A 1/1 that we're going to hope to get bigger. when it comes into play, give someone a bunch of goblins. Oh, but then they can't block this thing. Skitter Spike is actually very, very clutch in this deck. I like this a lot. Cryptic Cloak is reasonable. And then we have more Voltron. The mill itself, whenever you play a permanent, mill everything. Bruvac, Court of Cunning, so mill 2 or mill 10. Deep Muck Desperado. I love Crab. If you're putting this guy in just because him and the commander both have claws, I'll allow it. I don't know if I believe in him as much for crime commitment because I don't think you are that heavy on crimes. I see there are 11 crimes here. It's mill-based carcinization. It is carcinization. Security and unlicensed hearse is repeatable. So that's an example of relying on second order effects. And if your deck is not really heavy on tutors or really heavy on card draw, which your deck is very much not, I would not rely too much on 2 or 3 card combos that mill 3 cards. Like unlicensed hearse is fine. It's bonus mill while being a blocker. A 2/4? That's working for you? I gotta. All right, we're wading. Hey, we're wading into the jungle. We're wading into the jungle. Each opponent mills 14. It's probably fine. Imperious Mindbreaker. Jace's Phantasm. So we get a 5/5 for 1, sure. Each opponent mills 8 if it was kicked, round half their library. So we have the secret. My deck is Bruvac and Maddening Cacophony. Psychic Corrosion's probably fine. Rune Crab probably fine. Like, I think my overall picture of the mill section in general, other than it's perfect because of Crab, is you found a bunch of things that are neat, but nothing's as neat as fully bimboifying your opponent. You talk about Deep Muck Desperado is really just a blocker that can also mill. I struggle to believe that having a 2/4 that might mill 9 cards, 9 to 18 cards total in a game is better than a piece of Voltron equipment to put on Skitter Spike specifically, or to put on the Mind Skinner. I guess a more concise way to say it is you are not wrong that these things do mill. But from a perspective of recommendations I would make to make the deck more functional is a lot of things in here fail the frantic search test. A lot of the things, if we draw them, we like them less than we like drawing 2 different cards and being mana neutral. Funny enough, Frantic Search is in the sideboard. Bring it on in here. In terms of sideboard, I do not read this language. I think that should stay on the sideboard. I think that should stay on the sideboard. Like what's gonna do a lot more I think what's going to do a lot more for the deck in terms of, oh, I have all these blockers that can sometimes help me do the mill game plan. What's going to help more is any equipment that gives vigilance. Double strike is great, but right now you have two teams. You have an offensive team and a defensive team, like you're playing in the NFL or something. And I think this needs to be more like soccer, where everyone's working to make the game plan work. Excalibur is a really good version of it to get the damage through, and it does give you a vigilant effect, but anything that just gave them, like, I don't know if +2/+2 in vigilance exists, but if you put +10 +0 and vigilance on an indestructible creature, your blockers are handled. And so that's where all of these things that currently fail the Frantic Search test, I would bring Frantic Search in. Let me look at Mystic Redaction. Oh, Visions of Beyond, sorry, that's the one. Draw a card if a graveyard has 20 or more cards in it. Yes! Yes, Visions of Beyond is hot. At minimum, it's 1 mana. Please get me a land drop. And your deck is very, very good at turning this into draw 3. Foolish meta, there is no way you just suggested the ISO Rev combo for the Voltron equipments. So Reaver Titan, whenever it attacks, deal 5 to everything. That's really good. Night Paladin, when it ETBs, deal 4. That's also pretty good. But yeah, I think the card draw section could be shored up. Octopus Umbra is pretty funny. Like, there's some stuff that is pretty fucking silly in here that I do enjoy. Nettlecyst. Another thing I don't feel particularly strongly about. Oh, what's up, Duke Duckman? Thank you for coming by the stream, my friend. Another thing I don't have a great degree of belief in is these equipments that you have that are meant to grow as the game goes on. Bone Horde, I believe in more, because I believe in your ability to mill more. I believe in your ability to mill more than I believe in your ability to do anything else. I don't believe in your ability to ramp all that particularly well. Commander's Plate should be in here yesterday. The blue player is not going to try to stop you from doing this. It's everyone else who's going to try and get you about it, and if you can protect them from everything but blue, Commander's Plate would be really, really good. So like this, this is great. So G-Man, why trample here or vigilance? Well, I don't think we're really suggesting trample in any meaningful way. We're suggesting vigilance because the deck wants to swing out all the time, which means he can get beaten to death by people that are angry with him, as is wont to happen in a Magic the Gathering game. It's not about getting trample for Mindskinner specifically, but we have I saw an equipment for it. I mean, there's things in the deck other than Mindskinner that we want to swing with. There are things in the deck that we also want to get through. We don't want Mindskinner to be the only threat on the table, because if the entire deck is I play Mindskinner, I play equipments, and I put them on Mindskinner, and then I beat you to death, if somebody has one targeted removal spell, it becomes a very, very easy equation to make this deck fully start working. Whereas if you have Mindskinner, and then you have another creature, and then you have an equipment that goes on that other creature, that single target removal spell, it gets a little more questionable. Most of the other guys are unblockable. There's, let's see. These two are. Skitter Spike isn't, and I would argue this is one of the more important ones. Tempest Djinn isn't. Kappa Cannoneer isn't. All of the other creatures that are currently in this mill itself section aren't. Reaver Titan isn't. Knight Paladin isn't. We have a ton of meaningfully big hitters. All right, let me look at this trample equipment in general, or in specific. I personally think Forebear's Blade... Oh, it is unblockable. Oh, sure, if you have an artifact ETB. I personally think this is more about vigilance than it is about trample, but I will agree that the trample is not super necessary. I also currently don't believe in the stuff that gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand until the card draw section is a lot better. I don't think... I'll playtest it to be sure, but I don't think the card draw section is near good enough for us to feel strong about... For us to be like, oh, this is... Yeah, I'm going to beat people to death with my massive, massive hand. Okay, we got Altar of the Brood immediately. And then I guess we get our commander. Then we have to play this flipped. And I think we have to pass this holding up mana to be able to Siren Stormtamer. We do this, we swing. Probably have to sacrifice Siren Stormtamer at that point because everyone's going to be very mad at us. And then we do +3/+0. We can get Body of Knowledge out. We can swing this again. We probably have to hold that up for interaction. And then we can mill 14. Yeah, like right now this is a 3/3. We have Reality Shift to deal with one problem. But as we get through more and more turns, it's turn 8? Yeah, 4/4 now. Well, it's probably... The thing is, Rick Dom, it's probably not going to be a 4/4 because you're probably going to have to spend this on something, and you're probably going to have to spend this on something. If we have a 4/4 only so long as we don't do anything to our ops, and as soon as we do anything to our ops, this becomes a 2/2, it's a much worse deal. And this is also probably something that you'd want to play out. Like, we don't have a lot of things that we want to hold back, or a lot of things that are particularly good held back. But you were hitting your land drops much more regularly than I thought you would. So that brings me back around to Strata Scythe. I'm less keen on Nettle Cyst, again, because you were not dropping very many artifacts or enchantments. I think you only had 2 that playtest. You had Altar of the Brood, and you had Altar of the Brood. Oh, we don't have an island. You had Altar of the Brood, and you had the big sword, and that was it. So we have another card in our hand based thing. Let's get the... Let's see. War Room comes out. I'm going to pretend this is equipped too. 16/7 does good damage. We probably have to counterspell some type of removal. We probably play Bruvac. And we probably have to Pongify something. And I think with Bruvac, that kind of, like, Bruvac really solves the game for us because doubling mill is so strong. But if we don't have Bruvac, I doubt Mindskinner lives all that long. And we are super not refilling our hand. Like, our hand only remains full so long as we miss land drops because we have so much expensive stuff. And so if you want to keep the I'm going to scale off of hand size, I would say the card draw section needs to be much more aggressive, and it needs to be more aggressive at lower drops as well, so that we can keep getting to all of our good stuff. I'd propose Trepanation Blade instead of the 1/1 cards. Let's look at that. Whenever they attack, reveal cards until they reveal a land, the creature gets +1/+0. Oh, this is hot. This is definitely gambling, but it does... Rickdom does seem to have some, like, moral code about only milling perfectly in parallel, but if we can break the perfect parallel milling, this is really, really good. This is exactly what the deck wants to do. It's a little bit of randomness, but it is going to pump your... It is going to pump your Mindskinner by a very hefty amount. Sphinx's Tutelage is good if they have the card draw for it. Vic, we do not have the card draw for it. Also, Chromecraft and Old Crest, thank you for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Altar of the Goyf, still very funny, IMO. Need some good card draw spells, I guess. I don't think we want Altar of the Goyf because it's talking about attacks alone. And I don't think we want to attack alone the whole game. Thrawn Power Suit. Absolutely not. We're not getting... Thrawn Power Suit is something we can talk about after the card draw section is worked out, but this cares about getting a ton of auras and equipments on, and I don't think we get a ton on. Irenicus's Vile Duplication. Irenicus is... It's never that bad of a thing to copy your commander when your commander is really important, but it starts to get pretty bad when your commander can be killed by a literal baby. And so I don't have... It's okay for redundancy's sake, but I do think that... like, the only reason you would clone the commander is because you want to have something else with 10 power. And so rather than clone the commander, I would probably recommend just looking for better equipments in the first place. Like, I think you like Excalibur more than you like Irenicus's Vile Duplication. Also, the effect doesn't stack, so I was hesitant. Yeah, if the effect stacked, then cloning this would be absolutely insane. I think the problem that this deck is bumping up against right now, and the deck is going to continue bumping up against, that we can do our best to guard against, is Mindskinner really wants to be in the 99 of an Izzet or Dimir or Esper or some other type of mill list. Miabyte, thank you so much for the raid, my friend. Also, we have somebody, after we shout you out, I need to get one of my viewers who's smoking crack. Who said it? Who said Blade of Selves doesn't work? Mighty Rouge, Blade of Selves. Miabyte, we're doing deck breakdowns right now, so it's going to be a little boring and technical, but I hope you had a nice stream. Equipped creature has Myriad. So if you have one army man, no, I actually had 3. Blades only doesn't work with Mindskinner. It works with literally every other card. It works with every non-legendary we have in the deck. So that's fine. It also works if we ever manage to copy Mindskinner. And so for Glittering Skitter Spike, for Tempest Djinn, for Kappa Cannoneer, for Invisible Stalker, for anything you have on Cryptic Coat, or if Unlicensed Hearse gets big, like the fact that something doesn't synergize that well with the commander is a reason to have some skepticism. But if it works perfectly with every other thing you are doing, then I think you can take away that skepticism. They already have Undead Alchemist, which I think is a pretty good shout. But yeah, overall, I think you're backed into running some bad cards on account of being limited to mono blue. And Mindskinner really, really wants to skin some people with access to black or with access to red to either get more sources of damage, more big creatures, or in Dimir you can reanimate the stuff that you mill and then you can get other big boys. So some good card draw, not sure what those would be outside of Visions and Frantic. You don't need anything that is incredibly good. You really just need stuff that is going to get you any card draw, particularly on a repeatable basis. But the floor, okay, 41 cards. Just give me the fucking thing you know I was looking for, Scryfall. Don't play games with me. Like, this is the floor. Is I'm drawing stuff in the wrong order, and I would like to draw it in the right order instead. Shimmer Dragon's not the worst. Let me look at how many artifacts they have to see if 2 are even going to get onto the field. $20 artifacts. I think. So the problem with Shimmer Dragon is that it is expensive. The good thing about Shimmer Dragon is I think that it is better than a lot of the other expensive card draw that you have. I think something in this deck can, like, I think right now, Body of Knowledge is a little bit wasted. Is there a good, cheap, repeatable draw? Not really. As G-Man suggests, or has been suggesting for the last like 20 minutes, another good equipment you should have in here is Sword of the Animist. I'm coming more around on the thing. You have Sword of the Animist. Perfect. Okay. We're just gonna look for any like 3-drop 4 or lower drops that we can tap to draw cards. Good, cheap, repeatable card draw. Pick 2 of those 3 adjectives. Oh no, G-Man, you're good. I was more calling out my inability to get to the suggestion sooner. I don't think it's rude of you to be like, this is a good idea. Yeah, so here's your cheap, well, not even cheap. Here is repeatable. Here is one of the adjectives, repeatable card draw. Fucking archivist, baby. Let's go. What other sources of cheap, what other sources of like low card draw could we have? Yeah, Biden won't work if Mindskinner is out. Anything that says we want to draw a card off of combat damage gets negated by everything our commander wants to do. You may have to settle for things like Collector's Vault, where it's draw and discard. And so if you want cheap and repeatable, you normally have to go towards card selection rather than pure draw. But for you, so like the big engines are going to be expensive. What we're worried about for things that are 3 mana or less, we're normally worried about, my deck is currently in the wrong order. How do I get my deck into the right order? And the way you do that is normally from draw and discard. So that would also be like currency converter. Facet reader. And again, this one's really bad. Endless Atlas, this is probably the best individual piece because it cares about being monocolor. So this is probably the best, like the closest you're gonna get to cheap repeatable is it's 4 mana draw 1, 6 mana draw 2, 8 mana draw 3, 10 mana draw 4. So you need it for a lot of turns. You need it for a lot of turns before it's like good, but it is cheap and repeatable. If you stick this, like if this is in your opening hand, that'll do it. You could also do Folio of Fancies. It's a little bit group hug, which is not the best, but it does also mill. Don't really like Heirloom Epic because we're not going wide. We're not making tokens very often. You could just say fuck it and wheel people. Honestly, wheeling in a mill deck, not terribly far off the mark. Wilfred Goldenrod, hit me with that personal question when you get a chance. But I think we've given you a lot of suggestions. Overall, the deck isn't missing the mark too much other than just throwing its fucking hands up with the opening 7 cards. I think that's the weakest part of the deck. And then you have not subjected your deck to the frantic search test, which I think every every deck on the planet needs to subject itself to either the Frantic Search test or the Ren's Resolve test or the Read the Bones test, where they get so deep into, is this thing also on theme? Where if we have 99 cards that are all on theme, we probably don't have interaction, we probably don't have card draw, we probably don't have yada yada yada, and you have some, but I think there are a few things that are on the bubble that I would recommend moving from. This is a thing that does the word cloud of things I want my deck to do, to this is a thing that keeps my deck's game plan on the rails. Personal-ish question. Any must-watch movie recommendations? This is my favorite movie of all time. I love it very much. The critics are wrong, by the way. This is a 99%. This is a 99%. They just spelled it wrong. Really like this movie. I really love Hugh Jackman. He's tremendous. Michael Caine's also awesome. Start to finish banger. Prestige. Who? You heard me. Oh, Mavanger, I appreciate the recommendation. I hate Westerns. I hate them. Just to double check, you got my email with the corrected primer. Definitely not, but now I'll check my email. Hey, look at that. I probably did. Hold on. I'm finding it. Wait. There we go. There we go. AKA Hames Jowlet. What about spaghetti westerns? Not even those. I just don't like the aesthetic that much. I think I liked Westworld, and that is the closest thing to a Western aesthetic I could like look at with my eyes open for a continuous period of time. So Rick, you're gonna go in here with one little change. With one little change, you're going to go in there. How do you feel? We feel good about this? I feel pretty good about that. Rick, thank you very much for the submission. I think there are just a few little touches to make. But thank you very much. I hope you had a good time. Captain, we're going to come to you now. This is my oldest commander deck, and it's a Voltron build with some obvious Goblin synergies. It's not something that can consistently win at a table, but it can one-shot people out of nowhere sometimes, which is a dub in my book. I'd appreciate any advice to make the deck more consistent. P.S. I had you sign this Krenko at MagicCon Amsterdam this year. Oh, well, thank you so much. I hope you have put it to good use. Krenko McFranco. Oh, this is going to be a hot one. This is going to be a hot one. Max Musterman, the way you submit a deck is through Patreon right now. Jesus McPawn, hey Mald, I'm a certified green hater, but I would like to dabble into playing it. Any recommendation for a mono green commander? It depends on what you've played previously. It depends on what you've played previously for a bridge to playing mono green. And if you've been a green hater, the way to bring yourself around is probably not by going to mono green. It's probably by going to a multicolor that has green in it and then identifying what part of those play patterns you found enjoyable and then playing Krenko. Okay, so when he attacks, he gets a 1/1 counter, and then you make goblins equal to his power. Let's see if you have tags. Be gone, Phil. That's a hard open. Dog, this is a strong opener. What did you call this silly? No, spooky. Okay. Okay, spooky. I'll let you rock if this is spooky. All right, so up first, Blood Moon, then Chaos Warp, then Defense Grid. I already know. I don't think we need any more investigation to figure out what happened to Captain to make this deck a reality. Somebody hit him with the Dovin's veto. Fiery Confluence is interesting. This seems to me like a instance of flexibility over usefulness to too strong a degree unless you are incredibly tuned into what's happening at your table. As a board clear, it's pretty bad. As artifact removal, it's not that bad. And you don't care about the opponent damage, I don't think. Hello, Tadibara. Thank you for coming by the stream. Goblin Bombardment, sure. You're making a ton of goblins. Goblin Anthem, you really hate these artifacts, huh? I'm going to update this if we have yet another source of holy god, how do I get Vandal Blast? a second Blood Moon. All right. Yeah, I think it had to be, because it had to be a non-basic land player, so it couldn't just be a mono blue deck. I'm going back to the Azorius bet. Because we need someone who's playing non-basics, or maybe Esper. It could have been Esper, because they play a lot of Triomes. Esper Urza, that's a good guess. Okay, we've got ramp. We have racist, not racist ramp. This is the racist ramp. This is just populist ramp. Bar of Wonderbar, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. I love Curse of Opulence. I'll never hate on that in a deck. Warchief seems a little weird because even though he is a goblin, like the other Krenko is a member of the Goblin KKK. He is a dickhead supremacist. Krenko with haste good. However, it requires you to have this before you drop Krenko, which is not quite as good. And it's also if we're talking about cards that we need to have before, that we combine with Krenko, he's very expensive and is permanent based, when instead we could just have a 1 mana red card that says this creature has haste. If we want to be sneaky. Because again, the primer has obvious goblin synergies, and it can one-shot people out of nowhere, which is a dub in my book. Normally I take a deck that can't consistently win, but consistently kills one person, and I say that's not a good deck. But I also know that there's Pete's in the world. And sometimes all that needs to happen on a Friday night is Pete needs to die. Yeah, Skirk Prospector makes sense. Sword of the Animist makes a lot of sense. Bigger number, better number. Very true. +3/+1 is not bad, especially with replacing itself. Yeah, sacrificing a goblin is okay. Infuriate's fine, I think. Oh yeah, an Esper player did you dirty. An Esper player did you so dirty. Yeah, Reckless Charge. See, Reckless Charge is just better than Goblin Warchief. Across the board. Samut Sprint, also better than Goblin Warchief. Titan Strength is fine, it's scrying. Black Blade's good. Commander's Plate, highly necessary. Ember Cleave is pretty good, especially because you're going to get wide. Hero's Blade is the first one I doubt a little bit because I don't think everything we've seen so far seems to combo really well with Krenko swinging for the second time. All of the cards we've seen to date, all the synergies we've seen so far, all the cards you put in this deck seem to really pop off when Krenko is swimming. When Krenko is swimming, Jesus. When Krenko is swinging for like the third time or the fourth time, and as someone who has a Krenko deck on Arena, that is incredibly optimistic. It is super fucking aspirational of you, and immediately, even though we haven't gotten to the part of fixing you yet, when we fix you, I'm going to say you probably have too many equipments that are based on Krenko swinging the fourth time and not, I need to make sure Krenko swings once, and I need to make sure that he is safe when he swings that one time. The goblins are so dumb it's dragging down Mald's IQ. I've read through like 30 cards and I haven't seen, I think, a single thing that says draw a card, and so my brain is shutting off from lack of oxygen. Hear me out. Add a Zada Hedron Grinder plus turn inside out so they all gain +3/+0. Replace and slam stuff out of your deck, and you can also use like Hazardous Blast to make sure no one can block. If you put Zada in, it's not the worst as a potential pivot, but we would want to change all of this permanent-based Voltron. We'd want to change all of the permanent-based Voltron into instant and sorcery-based Voltron, which is frankly not as good for Krenko. And so we would be cutting off plan A of the deck to make plan B a lot better, which sometimes you want to do. It could be a good meta call if the table is really used to what this deck does and you want to try changing it up in a significant way so that they're not ready when you pop out and show them with the new Zada plan. But for the most part, it's like just play a Zada deck instead. So let's keep looking through. +3/+1 and Trample. Trample Lifelink. +1/+1 for each other creature you control. Like this is the most aspirational thing we have in this deck. This is assuming that the blue player lets you resolve Krenko, they let you resolve this fuck-ass equipment because you think they can't read, and everybody lets you swing with Krenko 4 odd times. It might be the one that's allowed to stay because it scales the best, but this is like the figurehead of a sub-theme of your deck that I think we need to wipe out totally, and then this might be like the only thing that gets to remain because it's the best one. +2/+2, Black-Red Pro, destroy a Planeswalker and an artifact. You fucking hate these artifact players. +1/+1 and Proliferate. The blue player allows it if I kill Pete. Yeah, a deck like this does rely on politics pretty much all the time. Trailblazers Boots. Commander's Plate's good. Deflecting Swat is good. Goblin Chirurgeon is honestly decent. 0 mana, get rid of a different goblin to sacrifice a goblin. Yeah, this quantity is quality. Coat of Arms, because no one else at my table is racist. +1/+1 in Haste. +1/+1 in Mountain Walk. Metallic Mimic's good. Quest for the Goblin Lord, also fine. Shared Animosity is great. Signal Pest is a mistake. Did this sneak into your deck? Did someone slip this into your deck as a prank and you just never took it out? SSGT Meatloaf, thank you very much for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Toolbox Tyler, sure. Mono red always has tutors. No matter what you do, Mono red's gonna have a tutor because they cannot draw any fucking cards. The big fuck you. Double strike, trample, sure. Seize the day, extra combats. Oh god, I have diarrhea and now it's everyone else's problem. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, Esper player. Embercleave is real. This one goes really hot as soon as Krenko's swinging for the second time. City on Fire is also fine. Yes, even red wants to touch more cards. Yeah, connecting the dots is okay. Dark Dweller Oracle also good because of Krenko. Yeah, fuck it. Our deck's bad. Let me have some of yours. I like Idol of Oblivion. I like Light Up the Stage. I like Magus of the Wheel. Ooh, I really like Reforge the Soul. Skull Clamp is fucked up in here. Subira Tulzidi Caravaneer. 2/3, 1 mana, another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. So only really good for the goblins you make. 1 in a red, dump your hand until end of turn. Whenever Tiny Meat Gang hits somebody, draw a card. That's a little hot. I've never seen this card before, and this is kind of hot in terms of mono red aggro draw or mono red Tiny Meat Gang draw. How do I bookmark cards? Sure. Add to my wish list. There we go. Tome of Legends, fine. War Room, fine. I mean, goddamn. With a curve like this, so first of all, in the card draw section, you do not have a vitamin deficiency in your card draw section, but if I was to suggest something else good, your mana curve looks like it comes from Costco. And when your mana curve is this low, red is really good at benefiting off of responsible spells that care about mana cost, like Dance with Calamity. Like shuffling your library and playing every fucking card in the deck. Not actually. I don't think this deck is actually that crazy with it because you have a lot of decent hits and you have a lot of bad hits. I think the card that would be a huge hitter for you is Wild Wasteland. You get 2 cards a turn. You can probably play any of them because this is a 3-drop, which is also pretty much where your deck stops. And so Wild Wasteland for you essentially says, like, draw 2 every turn. So if I was going to recommend one change, I would say that can probably find... I don't get to 8 mana often, TBH. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. And that's why Dance with Calamity is just my personal pet card. But I would highly recommend Wild Wasteland to speed things up at the low end of the curve. Like, hey, if you swap out Signal Pest for Wild Wasteland, 5 babies somewhere in the world randomly will start smiling. They will be healed of their deafness. And then the other thing I would really recommend that I think is lacking in this deck is you have a lot of your equipments appear dedicated towards evasion or pseudo-evasion. And if you are having trouble winning the entire game instead of killing one person, you need to transition those from evasion to indestructibility, to hexproofness. Like, what you're doing is... What are you gonna do? You can't see me coming. You can't see me coming. I'm gonna get you. And then there's just a guy standing off to the side with a gun, and he waits for you to start moving towards him, and he shoots you in the dick. And then your whole game is over. And so the swords at least give a little bit of protection, and I will believe you if you say, I know the meta of my table well enough to know that these protections carry me enough. But things like honestly, Loxodon Warhammer, it's good for making goblins. Lifelink is good. I don't think this deck loses because it doesn't have enough life. I think this deck loses because Krenko gets killed one time too many, and you just never assemble any type of board state to compete while you're scrabbling for your land drops. And so giving them trample and lifelink doesn't help you as much as it might mathematically seem like it should. And the same thing goes for +3/+1 in trample. The same thing goes for, honestly, even Godo's Maul. This is one of your better ones. And I'm hot take, even Trailblazer's Boots. If your table's not running a lot of Death Touch, I don't think you care that much about Krenko connecting. You care about Krenko being big. You care about Krenko not dying. And sometimes not dying means evasion. And Trailblazer's Boots is the best evasive equipment you have. But in general, if you find yourself losing a lot of games because Krenko just can't last, everything that's worried about evasion needs to be under intense scrutiny and have it compared to things that make him harder to kill. All right, Requiem. I'll keep that in mind. Things that make him harder to kill and things that scale much, much higher in terms of the damage and token output they can give Krenko. Like as Chad is suggesting, Chainsaw. You have a ton of goblins. You have a ton of ways to sacrifice those goblins. Even if you can't sacrifice them, if you throw them at people, they're gonna block and they're gonna die. And so when we talk about, oh, I want to get Krenko big so that even if I only swing him once, it's going to matter. Chainsaw, as the game gets later, is going to get better and better and better and better, or is going to pull removal that might have gone towards Krenko or something else. But like, it's infinitely better than Hero's Blade. Also, Goblin Chainsaw. Just think about that. Just think about that. Go take a shower, hot water running over you, beer or kombucha in hand, depending on who you pray to, and think about a goblin wielding a chainsaw. Observer also made a good call out that the non-basic land Arena of Glory would help you a lot in the early game. This would be another really good way to get haste out. Another really good equipment that I would recommend instead is Champion's Helm. It's just +2/+2. It doesn't give you trample, but now you can turn Krenko McFrenko into Jason. You can give him a helmet, you can give him a creepy mask, and then you can let him loose at a summer camp to chop up all these little assholes. I think Ramosi and Greatsword can also go. So we're looking for, we'll look for protection first, because protection is gonna pull double duty on making sure that our commander gets through and making sure that he doesn't get murdered. I'm gonna keep it so real. If you were to include any other single sword, I'd recommend Fire and Ice just to draw cards. Mono red really has a problem with its hand running out. I might even recommend it over Sword of Truth and Justice. I think proliferating is only good at the point that we can keep Krenko on the field for a meaningful amount of time, and I don't think that's where we're at yet. You could also do Wop Sword, but that depends on the type of removal they're throwing at you. If the mono blue player, if the people that are hating on you are doing it with instants and sorceries, then I would really recommend the Wop Sword. If they're doing it with permanents, you know, like a creature that says you have to sacrifice a non-token creature, or like an enchantment that has some type of targeted removal, then don't do the Wop Sword. But this could be phenomenal, or it could be super mid. It depends on why and how the people that hate you currently hate you. So that's protection. So let's look at indestructible. Like even Darksteel Plate. Even Darksteel Plate is fine. You don't care if Krenko bounces the first two strikes, as long as Krenko is there. This one too. So I think of these four, you pick one of these two, depending on what your table's doing. You get both of these, and Darksteel Plate and Mithril Coat replace Ramosian Greatsword, locks it on Warhammer instantly. And then you do sword for sword, trade out Hero's Blade for whichever sword you like. And then I think there's something that you can probably replace Tenza Godo's Maul for. But maybe not. Oh, woof. You do not have a lot of good hexproof options. God, the equipment cost of 4 is really, really hard here, but the effect is very good. So I'm not quite sure. You may not end up with hexproof equipments and stuff. This may be the best you can do. Let me see if there are any auras. Okay, am I crazy? Am I crazy, or is this a better effect of something you already have? I swear to God I saw something that was like this, but not as flexible. Foolish Meta, thank you for coming by the stream. Have a good day, my friend. Oh, ward equipment would be good. Did we have something that was like this? I stayed away from auras simply because Krenko would be targeted so much, so it would be kind of useless. I agree with that for now. I would like you to keep something like this in mind for the world where we get you having enough equipment that Krenko lives for a little bit. Because like I said, right now, all of your equipment is dedicated towards having quick feet, and your equipment needs to be dedicated towards a Kevlar vest. Because there are no feet in the world quick enough. Like, the stated problem is not consistently winning, but can one-shot people out of nowhere, and you've built it around equipment that are really good at stabbing Pete in the chest and then having someone else kill you in return. Like if you've ever played Among Us, you have built a deck that is really good at just running at someone and pressing the kill button, and then you get into the meeting and you just go like, yeah, I did it, do something, and then they just vote you out. No questions asked, vote you out. Weaver, what's up, you sexy fuck? Thank you for coming by the stream. And so I would tell you maybe auras can come back in at the point where your commander's not going to get murdered instantly because we're not giving him any self-defense classes. Demonic Ruckus also wouldn't be the worst, only because it draws a card when it's put into the battlefield. It's not the best. I think we have a lot of other things that do better than this, so I don't think you need to put it in. Dragon Mantle, almost certainly worth it. Replaces itself, so you don't have to worry about wasting the card if Krenko gets removed, and being able to dump mana if you're either in a late game situation or if you're just in a situation where you have nothing else to cast would be very, very strong. I mean, for right now, let's see how it playtests before we move on to the next deck. So we have every land in the deck right now. So he's going to be a 2/2 on turn 4, and he's going to have haste. I'm going to play this, and we're going to set up for that turn where we kill Pete. So we put this on. So it's a 4-something, 5-something, make 5 goblins, let it rock. Then we probably put this on, Infuriate, get a land, make a shitload of goblins. Yeah, like as good as the haste was, we have a huge target on our back right now. And I would like you to consider how much better this lineup could be if instead this was any type of 3 mana equipment that said, this guy doesn't die actually. Because in all reality, what probably happens is you probably get the Sword of Truth and Justice turn. An unidentified black deck walks in and shoots you in the head. And then you have to wait. And then you set up for the turn again. And you have these on the field, and everybody knows, okay, as soon as you play Krenko, they're going to become a whatever. You go to cast them, you get counterspelled. And then you have to wait some more. And so that is the weakness of this permanent-based game plan, is even though people are trying to count in Commander, they can still count a little bit. And when they can count to, oh, they're going to be a 7/8, and they're going to make 7 goblins, people just aren't going to let you into the kitchen in the first place. And so if you're going to go into that type of situation, you need to have a better defensive game plan than just a smattering of protection from specific colors. And even like Goblin Matron, I don't think there's a particular goblin that solves the situation for you, but what does solve the situation is Darksteel Plate or Mithril Coat, or even the Wop Sword. Like the Wop Sword does a better job of solving this for you than Sword of Truth and Justice does, or than Goblin Chieftain does. Like I think you had the correct instincts of, oh, I'm playing a Voltron deck. People really don't like that. I need to figure out how to deal with that dislike. And the place your brain went to, and the place that a lot of Voltron players' brains go to, is I'm going to go faster. I'm going to be less predictable. And the problem with that is when you become unpredictable, people target you more. Imagine if you had a friend who was really into knives and you told them, hey, Tony, your obsession with the whole Bowie knife thing is getting a little bit much. It's really off-putting at D&D. We know you say it's roleplay, but you cut Samantha for real last week and we're starting to worry about you. And you told them, hey guys, I get it. Thank you for telling me that. And you showed up next week and you didn't have knives and you waited until an emotionally tense moment and then you pulled out 3 and stabbed them into the table one after another and you yelled, "It's knife time, motherfuckers!" People can't work with that. People can't work with that. And if you want something that people can work with, that you can maybe politic around a little bit more, because right now you're literally just the blue player's attack dog. If the blue player is letting your commander through so that you can kill Pete, you are just the blue player's errand boy. And that is not a place that mono red deserves to be in. So I would really recommend reorient all of these evasion equipments towards how do I keep Krenko on the table. And then after that, like I would play, that's not going to be a perfect deck either, but I would try that either in like Moxfield Playtester or with proxies. And then after you try that and you get a feel for how is the flow different if I can keep my commander around, then worry about how do I get the top end, how do I get that like explosive sauce after I figured out how I have a better strategy than knife time. That's a nice argument, Senator. However, it's knife o'clock. We do still need it. You do still need knife time at some point. My point is that right now the deck is all knife time. And if the deck is all knife time, everybody thinks that's cool and based because they think that they're the main character of their own story. But in reality, you are just thug number 17 who pops off too early and gets killed by Batman. That's all that's happening. You're not the Joker. None of us are the Joker. Not even Arthur Fleck is the Joker. So you're going to say it's knife time, you're going to get to the T syllable, and Batman's going to hit you with a fucking crowbar. We gotta be real. We're not protagonists. None of us are the protagonist. All right, we have a lot of things to catch up on. Prubo, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse, my friend. Darklist, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate those Bezos bucks. Welcome to the dog home. And then James Greenfield, thank you for a $5 super chat. Any opinion on Thantis the War Weaver? I love them. They have a TikTok out. They don't have a YouTube video out. I'm waiting for YouTube to let me post longer shorts. There's some stuff that I don't want to post as videos from the TikTok backlog, and YouTube said on the 15th they were going to let you post shorts up to 3 minutes, and then it's never happened. And then Rick Dom, I believe you asked about Into the Story. Yeah, I think you can get away with that. It's definitely silly strength, but I think you can get away with that. So we're going to move on to Dr. Crab's deck, which has an updated primer. I am going to go use the bathroom real quick, and then we will be back and we will do Crab's deck. I might not come back. We'll see. I might not come back. Please stop selling my stuff. Please stop selling my stuff, guys. I'm not rich. I'm not rich. Chair already sold, sorry. Fuck! Okay. I hate Urza with a passion, but the rules of the challenge I set for myself dictate I must build him. Therefore, I decided to build the stupidest possible deck I could think of. Malt, if you spent more than 30 seconds on this, you've spent too long on this. Well, I am no one if not a dead horse beater. Wait. I do nothing if not beat on dead horse. If I love one thing, it's jerking. Fuck you. So for those of you who don't know, Crab has had a long-going challenge to build a... I think they're doing the 32 deck challenge where they build a deck for every possible color combination, but they try to do it in a way that subverts whatever the commander wants to do. So they pick like the most popular commander for a given color, and then they say, how do I make them not proud of me? I assume it has something to do with their relationship with their father. I haven't dug that deeply into it, but it's the only explanation I can think of. So the updated primer, the only considerations for the deck are what deck would be the biggest possible insult to mono blue Urza, and what will get the funniest facial expressions from Mauled. This deck is extremely funny to play exactly one time if you can keep the gimmick a secret till you're ready to drop it, and then it'll never be fun at that table again. As usual, $50 price cap on the cards, and I avoided any intentional infinites. Okay, well, at least... I mean, Urza, but it's rats. Bloomburrow had some good mono blue rats. It's still like Urza, so I'm sure the artifacts are going to be fucked up. Only 21. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Those kind of rats. The kind of rats who read books and make rules and shit. 25? Only need 4. Where is it? Where is it, you piece of shit? Where is it? Thrum, I can fuck... Okay. So this is Dr. Crab's Thrumming Stone deck. I swear to God, in place of your heart, you just have one of these that beats to the rhythm of little skittering paws. And we have Rhystic Study and Pointless Top. Generic EDH Rec draw package. At least you own it. I won't forgive it, but I'll give it more space to cook if you own it. No. The rats. They do kind of look like rats. All right, so I hate. I'm not going to say that I hate you, but I hate. In my heart, I hate. Oh, and it's Kawaii Jace, you little rat. You little fucking rat. You think I'm milling my opponents? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Let's see how... Draw card. Good. Good. We counterspell someone. We ramp them. Someone deserves to play. 1 counter. Sure. Sure. So we have 2 more Thrumming Stone triggers. That one misses. But we cast this one. 2 more. You're gonna miss. God doesn't love you. God does not love you, Crab. Sure. 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 We're on like 3 on the stack now. All right. 3 on the all right. You're gonna miss. We're running out. We're running out of petitioners. You're about to be cooked. You might have 6 of these. You might have 6 of these remaining on the stack. You're about to be out of the... I hate you. I hate you. You might be up to 9 or whatever on the stack. You're done. You're done. There was only 1 on that one. That's the last one you're seeing. That is the last petitioner you are seeing. Lotus Petal? Oh, and there's fucking Rhystic Study. The only deck in the world where Rhystic Study is diluting the card quality. Ha! Ha, I say. The beginning of the end. The beginning of the end. We're finally down to... That just goes even. That just goes even. That's fine. You're running out. That's fine. That just goes even. That's fine. Whatever. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, where's your God now? Where are your dumb little rats now, bro? You got nothing. The deck is bad. It's barely functional. It doesn't work. Nice try. Go home. The stack is empty. Oh, owned. Absolutely owned. No shot. Now, how many could you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Okay, so for every 4, we get 12 cards, so that's 7. So 7 times 12, that's 70, that's 84. Next up, we got Lalo's deck, which is silly and spooky. I'm kidding. We'll go back to... All right, so that is a truly, definitionally, I get to do this one time, and then I am never allowed into the kitchen again. You can't improve it because it's meant to be horrible. I think I would laugh. Maybe. I can't tell if I would laugh or scream or cry. is the problem. I don't know which of those emotional reactions I would have, but I know it would be strong. I can tell you nothing about the direction of my reaction, but I know the intensity is maximal. I'm not even gonna we're not even gonna talk about Rhystic Study because it's like the 30-second grossest thing that's going on in the deck. Same goes for Strip Mine. Fuck it. Do whatever. You cannot hurt me in any way that matters after pulling off this goddamn Thrumming Stone combo. We are now. What's up, Spencer? Thank you for coming by the stream. I always whiff on Thrumming Stone. See, unfortunately for you, you are not a Thrumming Stone main. Crab is not devoted to a color, despite what they say about rats. I don't even think they're devoted to rats. I just think they're devoted to Thrumming Stone. Every slot machine in the tri-state area knows... Every slot machine in the tri-state area knows Crab's name. They are married to the game. They are married to the stone. They are married to the thrum. Bad Bros 85, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Roosh, yes, we can move you up. You were going to be after Lalo anyway. Smash Dragon 1000, thank you very much for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. I had the same idea, but with Slimes Against Humanity instead. At least Slimes Against Humanity, one bounce spell takes care of your whole shit. We're still looking for Lalo and D2 Vincent. So can you two check in and let me know that you are both still in the stream? My face hurts from laughing so much. My body hurts from reading it. And so I'm glad that we had an equally good time. And I also hate that you fucking stuffed me on equally divisible mill numbers. I know you read Tap 4. I know you read Tap 4. And you decided, you blue-balled all of us. You blue-balled us devoted playtesters. You knew this was going to happen, didn't you? You knew I was going to Thrumming Stone out every single one, and we were going to be able to tap everything but the last fucking one. Evil. Okay, Roosh, let's get into it. Chungle Down Bim V2, the re-chungling revengeance. It is my only goal. I'm going to tell you right now, Dr. Boobs, if I may use your official title, my only goal in life is, or my primary goal in life right now, is to get so internet famous that one day I can meet Lou Wilson, play a Commander game against him, and say with a straight face, oh, I have a fan deck I'm going to play. It's Chungle Down Bim. And I'm just going to see how heavy and how deep that sigh is. A revisit to the Hellbent deck I submitted back in June. So, Roosh had sent this deck in. Lalo, you were, but Roosh has to go. So we're going to do this deck before Roosh has to leave for the day and then do yours. Thank you for your patience, my friend. So we submitted this deck back in June, and I said it had a problem there. At that point, it was meant to be a Hellbent deck, and I think I brought up issues of you're not doing enough to force people to take damage. You're not doing enough to capitalize based off what Zoyoa is having you do. You're just shooting yourself in the cock over and over and over again and hoping that you get a little bit of blood on other people. So at the beginning of end step, if you descended, they can discard, sack, or they take 3. Obviously, this is not particularly threatening. So let's see what they did. Maultown recommendations taken into account, as well as a few personal choices to add hilarity. The deck shockingly converts really well by functioning as a weird reanimator deck that's very heavy on removal with its creatures. Very few instants, but plenty of ways on board to interact and whittle down opponents. As much as I am a little spellslinger girly at heart, I agree with that. If you're trying to descend, you need to get permanent cards into the graveyard, and so almost your entire deck should be permanents. The one word vibe for the deck Chungle Down Bim V2, the re-chungling Revengeance, is of course Freak Nasty, because I'm gonna shit in your mouth is not technically one word, no matter how many hyphens you put on it. Alright, so Anger. I like this. If you get it into the graveyard, it's phenomenal. Madness cost plus dumps our hand. Very reasonable. So here's the weird Reanimator stuff. Dump our hand, very reasonable. Benefit from how much hand dumping we've done. I think this was in... Oh, right, you have tax. That makes so much sense, Roosh. Astery, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Okay, so what are our backup win cons? Make a shitload of 2/2s for all the stuff in our graveyard. We could have... Oh, it's on combat damage. So we could repeatably have up to 33 creatures that we're triggering here. Troper, you get it on top of it. I don't know if you get to choose if you have multiple rolls. Conrad the Grim is okay. I'm not sure if I would count this as a... This is really just a semantic argument, but I don't know if I would call this a win con so much as I would just call him like a backup dancer for everything you're doing. I would say like this is a win con. This is if your deck has been doing its thing and you spend 7 mana on him in the late game, you create a board state that can kill people next turn. I call him Sir Conrad the Bim. You're a fucking monster. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, make a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. I'll return to these after I see what the rest of the deck is doing. Bim. Bone Miser's hot. Bone Miser's hot, especially with this artifact count, although I would argue to bring it up higher if we're going to be doing this. Whenever you discard a card, make it bigger. Oh, that's a little stinky. Dark Suspicions is a little bit stinky. Bone Miser is just Waste Not on a body. Bone Miser is kind of ugly. Tadibara, if you say mean things about him, he is going to shit in your mouth. And so I would reconsider your statements. This is very hot. I really like this. Even though it's technically stacks, I think you deserve it on account of being a silly little guy. Swamp Walk's good. It's pretty decent. A little group huggy, but honestly, like, casual tables can use the acceleration. Discard equals damage. Discard equals impulse draw. Oh, Dr. Boobs. Professor Boobs, if I may be so bold. I like this. Chungle Down. Okay, so chungling down is the process of wheeling. It's the process of shitting, and then we're going to direct it towards their mouth later. That's fucked up. Sack a creature for each card I discard. Dr. Krabs, thank you for coming by the stream, and thank you for the submission. I hope you had a good time, my friend. Love Matsatlanti. This is still dumb. This was dumb the first time, and it's dumb the second time, but it is funny. Hackerino, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Damn. Hold on. Get out of here. Damn. I don't care what the text is. I assume it synergizes. Straight to this. Me when I look Olivia in the eyes. This is actual footage of me making eye contact with Olivia. This is reasonable as shit now, Roosh. You have done well. Funny cards. See, this is the backup win con. This Sir Conrad, he is just a chungle downer. He is just another guy chungling down, and he happens to be on a horse and is a white man, so we all thought he was in charge. Mortal Kombat is the backup win condition in the deck. I like Price of Knowledge. It is crazy expensive, but I do like it as a way to pay off of not having a hand most of the time. Accidental Win is funny, though. I mean, I think well, first and foremost, it's not accidental. If you spend 5 years collecting all of the trash from your local neighborhood and like taking it out of people's cans and storing it in your garage, and then one day after the 5th year anniversary of doing that, you reveal that you have superpowers and you're going to become a despotic tyrant, and you are going to laser vision everyone who does not own at least 300 pounds of literal garbage. That was not accidental. It's kind of funny if you write for the boys, but it's not an accident. Let's be so clear about that. If you spend the entire game teeing that shit up and then you finally knock it down, we're not going, ooh, I guess I win. You still get to cackle, but you cackle with intent. Bad Bros 85, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. And Bell Zones, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the dog house. The Boss Brick, thank you for the Prime sub as well. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. I appreciate that generosity and those Bezos bucks. So I still like this. But we're not talking about accidental wins. Reanimator Recursion. Yeah, 12 is good here. Crucible is very good. Lands are definitely one of the easiest ways to repeatably trigger this Descend, and you deserve it more than the green players do. Oh, that's so hot. So if you have more creatures in your graveyard than in a target opponent's graveyard, you get it back, which is... You were in the fucking Scryfall archives for this one, Roosh. Kill. Oh my god, Toxic Deluge, but it's actually based on what your deck's doing. I really like this. Fuck enchantments. Fuck artifacts. Oh, again with this, I only get to have superpowers as long as all my friends are dead. Like Meteor Golem. I like the Evoke here. I'm not even okay, so we're gonna go to the playtest before I do any more suggestions, and I'm not even gonna argue that this is missing, because from a purely philosophical standpoint, this is crack cocaine. But a legitimate question I have is, what is the rationale behind not having any of these type of effects? Because this is very much a guarantees Descend, holds the board down. I guess maybe you're trying to keep cards out of their graveyards because you have so many things that are benefiting off just your graveyard being big. Maybe that's it. I would believe that. I guess I answered my own question. So let's take it to the playtest. Let's get the chair back up. That's the process, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. If you're not having problems with getting overwhelmed by problematic creatures, then I'll let that rock. Okay, we'll play this. We'll play this. Play that. We are not going to Chungle down yet. Oh, we're not going to play the swamp. We're going to play this, and we're going to go fetch something. So we've descended now. We're going to descend again. Ooh. This is a little bit tough because now we have a lot of things that we don't want to get rid of. We definitely need a... You know what? Our mana's fixed. I'm just going to grab this for gameplay. Fucking ass, bro. We're grabbing this for gameplay purposes, but mana's fixed. So we've triggered Zoyoa again. We play Archpriest, and we get this bigger, but we don't do a lot with it. And now we have a lot of things that say discard our hand. So I guess we Shrapnel Slinger, sack it to get our Descend trigger from the turn. And then we'll play this guy. Yeah, fuck it. Hand go bye-bye. Or no, I'll play this one because we can get the dragon back with the Archpriest. We can't get the artifact back with anything. So next turn we draw an additional. I think we pass our turn. We don't get a Descend trigger, but we play this from Madness. Probably play this, and then we go get the dragon back on top of our deck, and then we play this. I don't think we've Chungled down. Oh, but we can discard nothing, draw 3, play the dragon, then Chungle down. So now we're drawing 2 additional cards every turn. We can play a Meteor Golem. My other question is, does dumping our hand... Like, I think the dumping our hand doesn't trigger the Chungling down is the only thing that feels a little bit bad about the current version of the deck is... Because I don't know that for sure, but I've tried to replicate similar play patterns with cards like... with other cards that check at the beginning of my end step for a condition to have happened, and I'm pretty sure if you have even if you stack the triggers in the advantageous way, or I've tried to do it with Smeagol. This is the other... That's correct. So Yoa needs Descent before the end step. Yeah, so that's a little... I really like it for the Reanimator angle, and so I'm loath to criticize it too heavily. I also like the... I also like the draw 3 wheel every single turn. But I do question a little bit. Yeah, I question it a little bit only because we're not actually getting... I guess we can dump that to draw 3. The only thing triggering Descend is Anya's Ravager. Although it may just be good enough to be on this Reanimator game plan. Because draw 3 every turn. Draw 3 every turn, not bad. Reanimate the big stuff, not bad. Yeah, we are seeing a lot of cards, which is really nice. I think that let me restart, because I do think we were pretty land heavy that game. Oh, Chainer and Noxious feel like they have to do something for us. So now we discard this guy, bring him back with Chainer's Effect. We've chungled down. We discard this guy, bring him back with Chainer's Effect. We've chungled down. We play this. I think we got to do this shit now. Oh, we would have milled these three too. So that's another instance of chungling down. So we draw 2. Next turn, we draw fucking 5 off of Ghirapur Orrery. Okay, so we want us to... Oh, and we have Archpriest. So then this really comes together. Yeah, I do think... I'm going to say this as a positive. I think we've really departed from the Descent trigger being the most important thing in the game, and I think that's really, really good. I think the sneaky Reanimator game plan that's happening is pretty fucking loud. I like it a lot. I don't know if I believe in the Tormod all that much. I think that you are getting cards out of your graveyard. I don't think you're getting that many out. I think in the best case, you're probably getting maybe 3 to 5 zombies a game. Tormod pops off when you have the oversold cemetery effects. I believe that he works. But I'd like to corral our language a little bit and save the term pop off for people like the late great Tony Hawk, who I'm pretty sure is still alive. Because he's 4 mana, and so even if you have a oversold cemetery effect, I feel like you're getting maybe 1 zombie a turn for like 6 turns. And if that is the ceiling of what 2 cards can do really, really well together, that's when I start to believe in it a little bit less. But it also depends on what power level you're trying to play to. Because for silly, sure, a 2/2 every turn, not totally ridiculous, but we're comparing it to things, you know, like... When you compare it to Mommy Parade, I get 1/2/2 a turn is not quite as good as, oh, I get everything. This is mid to low power. Then we can keep Tormod. He's bad at his job, but we want some slackers. If we're not going to be tryhards, we don't need a lot of type dickhead pencil pushers. I am inclined to agree with Josh Green's suggestion that Mesmeric Orb would be pretty good for you. I think on balance, you should still win out. It may just get you targeted too heavily because the average casual player hates mill, but this would be very good for ensuring your Descend triggers. Now that said, all of these suggestions are very soft because I think the deck works really well. I like what it's doing. I think it is a national treasure. It would be very cute to play against. It's super interactable, which pretty definitionally makes it fair, but it has a really good engine that it wants to do. So yeah, very good job, Roosh. Thank you for the submission. And thank you for bringing it back after quote-unquote fixing it. I think there's a lot of interactions in here that work wildly, wildly well. What about Out of the Tombs? This one would be pretty hot. This one, I think, even in the context of what the deck is right now, is honestly, especially with what the deck is right now, is pretty cool. It would also put a clock on you to finish things, and so it's up to you how much you want that. This could end up... Out of the Tombs is something I would play if I had an instant speed sack outlet. Gotcha, yeah. Yeah, and then Ripples of Undeath is also good. Ripples of Undeath is, I think, the best mono black card draw engine in the game. I think it's better than Phyrexian Arena, and I think anybody that thinks Phyrexian Arena is better than this is too afraid of milling themselves. But this one's pretty crazy for you too. So with that said, we are going to move on to Lalo's deck, which is silly but also spooky. Hippity hoppity, get bippity boppity. Clement is here to hop. Finally let me have a frog deck that's not terrible and has a consistent theme. Having a ton of fun with it so far. There are things I could do to make it stronger, but I would lose the frog synergy. So I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. If you find the tags confusing, check the Moxfield primer, but try to figure them out on your own if you can. I love a good riddle. Let's look at the other primer. My mom was dyslexic, so playing card games was hard, but she said if I ever made a frog deck, she'd learn how to play Magic because frogs were her favorite animals. As of Bloomborough, frogs are finally good, so I had to build the deck in her honor, and it's very fun to play. That is touching. I swear to God, my community is the only one that could go from freak nasty, I'm gonna shit in your mouth, to cute frog deck in honor of my dyslexic mother. You guys are different. No one else in the world is managing that segue. So Clement is Bant. There's Bippity, Git, Hippity, Boppity, Hoppity. I got jump scared a few times just scrolling through. So let's see Git. I know it can't be this because I see lands in here, but this card makes me think the theme of Git is unplayable dog shit. So protection from blue and it cycles. This is a land. Tap a creature, put stun counters, draw cards. Land. Look at top card, then draw a card. So I'm thinking this is probably lands and draw. It may also be ramp. Nope. Okay. 1/1 counters. Huh? This is basically draw. Create a token that's a copy. I mean, making a copy of stuff, I think that's like close enough to I get more stuff. I get more mana. So maybe this is just literally I get. It's literally just I get lands, I get cards, I get counters. Although in that case, I think everything in the deck falls under it because you can just say, well, I get a Froghemoth. All right, we've solved the first part of the riddle. It was meant to be getting resources specifically. Okay. I think the Innkeeper's Talent is a little bit of a red herring, but if you do have a way to spend those counters as resources later, then I do think it's incredibly clever of you. All right, so 55 pieces of resource acquisition. Probably responsible. I haven't picked out how many are specifically card draw. Bippity. So if I was gonna... Damn, that guy's fucked up. If I was gonna guess what Bippity is, it's probably fighting, although Boppity could also be that. Communal Growing, make everything bigger. Make another frog. This might be like blockers. This has reach. That makes me think it's... Oh, wait. Is that... This is also like 1/1 counters and buffs. Yeah, more 1/1 counters, more buffs. It's almost all buffs and counters, but then we have... Oh, I guess he has a buff on him. So yeah, it's buffs and counters. Or buffs, copies, and... Alright. Buffs is correct. We've solved part 2 of the riddle. Boppity. Wait a fucking minute. Okay. Okay. Is this my favorite frog in the world, Hullbreaker Horror? Roosh, thank you for coming by this stream. I hope you had a good time, my friend. Is this my #1 favorite amphibian, Cthulhu? It works with Clement, and I needed a win con. It's one of the only non-frogs because I had it in a binder. See, there again, I'm not gonna say it's unusable as a win con, and I think the chain is creative, but it's, again, I had it in a binder. Do you see? We all have the worms inside our brain. We all have the I own the shiny cardboard, so we're all Gollum. We're all Gollum. None of us are above it. But would winning like that make your mother proud? I'm gonna keep it a stack. If I told my mom I beat a bunch of people to death with trampolines, that would get me high-fived. So I'd say probably. Boppity. So is this like debuffs, or... This is probably like debuffs and interaction. Yeah, fog. Hullbreaker being in here. Exile a creature. Yeah, this has to be like interaction of some kind. Spore Frog is very funny. Hippity. Is this like... This looks like ETB effects, maybe. Okay, so we've got a ton of ETB effects. And Panharmonicon. At least, hey, the art makes it look a little froggy. It looks like frogs would hang out on that stump. Hoppity, and so I'm assuming if Conjurer's Closet is here, that gives it away as the flicker effects. Okay, so we've solved the riddle. It is acquire resources and also be Innkeeper's Talent. It is buff things, sometimes tremendously badly. It is interact with our opponent's things and also be Cthulhu. It is have ETB effects, and it is create opportunities for ETBs. So let's see how many frogs we can get in the closet this game. Okay, and then turn 3. So we do this. If we do our first bounce, we can bounce this guy, which gives Clement a counter. I think we play this because we're going to take a turn off. We're going to take a turn off on purpose. and replay this guy. So I'm gonna do that. Play this guy, bounce him again, make this guy bigger. Oh, Clement makes mana. Right, I forgot he can tap himself. So we do all that the previous turn, and then we probably do Vanquisher's Banner on this turn. And we replay this guy, draw a card. We replay this guy, draw a card, bounce this guy, maybe counter on this guy because he has reach. And then I think we can replay him, and then we draw a card. And then we have Splash Lasher. And really we're playing to, I think we're playing to like Nissa here. And so we can tap these guys and tap him too. Draw a card, bounce him, finally put a counter on the bloated Toad. And then play him again, bounce this guy, draw a card, put a counter on here. We get to reveal, okay, we get a land to field. Then I think we get Nissa and we uptick her. This becomes a 3/3. Then next turn, so we have two of these lands that are massive. I mean, 20 Toad might just win the whole thing for us. So I think we go 3 tree, tap these down. 20 Toad, bounce this guy, put it back on the clifftop lookout. Guardian, bounce Splash Lasher, put it on this guy. And we'll just presume that I'm mana cheating like a motherfucker. We would have drawn 2 during that. This guy, boom. Yeah, this is a very nice little used Honda Civic you've got going here. I do agree proxying something like the Ozolith would probably be a really good choice, because one thing we ran into immediately, I think it's pretty fair to say, Vanquisher's Banner carried this individual playtest like a motherfucker. In terms of playing against other decks that are typically doing like mid-range stompy things, we pretty quickly got into a situation of I either need to load all of my counters onto one guy, making them a pretty juicy target, or I need to start bouncing my things that have counters in order to keep the train going. And these guys are never going to win us the game. Maybe 20 Toad, because we have double mana now. So let's see how his second round goes. Frog. Or well, we'll switch the order of this so that this is untapped on turn 2. Do that. Okay, Clement. Or no, we would have played this the turn before, and then turn 3 we get our third land drop. Then we play Clement. Now we have Command Tower. We play this guy again. We get 2. We have 3 mana available to us. Probably haste, because now we can Now we can really fucking mana cheat. Or no, I tap the frog and a forest. I run away together. I get my Pawn Prophet back. I replay them. I draw a card. Play this guy, bounce the Pawn Prophet. Again, get the Pawn Prophet back. And now it's really, I need like 3 Adderall and probably a week of straight practice to play the deck effectively. I do love decks like this. These are the decks where I really recommend that people should be touching themselves a lot before they do it in public. If you want to get away with touching yourself to a deck like this, I think you need to have your stroke game needs to be impeccable. And I think if it's impeccable, pretty fun, pretty interesting. Frogs got a lot of support in Bloomburrow. They are still frogs. And so they are still kind of weak, as evidenced by the fact that we need to take approximately like 3 million game actions before we do anything super crazy. But that doesn't mean don't play the deck. That just means play test the deck a lot like I'm doing now and know what the lines are supposed to be. And based on how quickly you were advising me about what the entire turn should look like, I would say, yeah, you probably know what the lines of the turn are going to be. But this looks like it gets pretty hairy pretty quickly. And you really need to be on the ball. So do you think I should do things like Kindred Discovery and Raise the Palisade? Almost certainly yes. I think Raise the Palisade in particular is Raise the Palisade is probably a less anger-inducing version of Hullbreaker Horror. When you play Raise the Palisade, you're going to bounce all non-frogs, which is going to give you an opening to finally leverage your board that is like pretty full of medium-sized creatures into getting some good hits in, which is just like, this is the end result of your ideal Hullbreaker Horror turn, but you can actually swing. So I would recommend Raise the Palisade most. Would recommend Kindred Discovery. Just because if you ever have a Kindred deck, if you ever have a Kindred deck, you're so often holding yourselves back. There are some Kindred decks that are faking that they are being held back. They're like white people that talk about reverse racism. Those are like elves and merfolk and dinosaurs. Those decks talk about how badly they need Kindred support, and they don't need fucking any of it. Their grandpas built the fucking game and bought their seat at the table. They don't need any goddamn help. But frogs still need the help. Other good bounce effects. It's tough because almost all of them came from Bloomburrow, but we would love like... I don't even know if any of these effects exist is the thing. Yeah, there's like truly not a lot. There's like not really frog cards. Oh, he's only Simic? I really thought that motherfucker was banned. Get out of here. Day of Dragons is pretty fucking funny. Oh, Helga's banned. So, Day of Dragons would be a departure from only frogs, but oops, I turned all my frogs into dragons is kind of silly. You just don't really have a way to like bounce this if you ever want the frogs back. I'm amused you find that more acceptable than Hullbreaker, admittedly. So the reason I came down on Hull Breacher or Hullbreaker Horror is because I play it myself, and the primary effect of playing Hullbreaker is that we all stand still and make a lot of uncomfortable eye contact. I don't think, especially if the way you want to use Hullbreaker is you want to stick him and then stick this really long chain of frogs, you're probably taking 10 minutes to resolve one Cyclonic Rift. And because you've bounced all your frogs and you don't seem to have haste attack enablers, and it's going to and you're going to reset all of your frog counters, you basically you dome your whole board state, you prevent yourself from being able to swing to put the game in a lock, which is typically what you want to do if you're a combo player. But decks that want to win through combat typically are not in the... And I realize bouncing your own stuff still has utility. I don't think you need Concordant Crossroads. Really, I would recommend the Ozolith. I realize you only have one and it's in a different deck. If there was anywhere worth proxying a second copy, this would be the deck it's worth it in, because so much of the payoff for your bouncing is to either get cards or get counters. And if you do not have any way to hang on to the 1/1 counters, you spend half the game cutting your own feet off. What goes out? Let's see. So I think your 3-mana toes are decently important. I like Trollbred. I think Rootcast Apprenticeship can go out only because the created token only copies target tokens you already control. So this is a thing where it only does a lot when your deck has already copied stuff effectively. I realize you can just choose it to dump a bunch of counters on, but I actually think that's what your deck is already pretty good at. Oh yeah, I'm Evander. Spore Frog is in. I think Jade Avenger can definitely go out. This is something that's in here exclusively because it happens to be a frog. And I think the same thing goes for Anarid Swarm Snapper, unless you are really getting eaten alive. Oh, no. Frogmite. Unless you super fuck with the art. If you fuck with the art heavy, that's the best reason to keep a card in. But Frogmite is another. But exactly, it's so pretty. And I get you, right? I feel you. Hey, I feel you. It is bad. So if you're not going to cut Frogmite, I would probably cut... I would say Anarid for now. Second Spore Frog's very funny. Yeah, I think Anarid then. If you're gonna keep Frogmite because it's just so darn cute. A lot of the other things you have, no, I would not cut the seasons. All of the seasons are incredibly good. The token copying alone is insane. Every paw print mode of Season of Weaving is incredibly strong. But Anarid is the card in the deck that is it has the smallest amount of do something contained within its DNA. It's really just a reach thing that can maybe be used against a token Flyers deck. So those are the three I would cut. But overall, I think this is really cute. I do really think your mom would be proud, and I wish you could have shown it to her. This is adorable. It's highly fair most of the time. Most of the time. Most of the time. I don't care how fair it is on a technicality. If you ever resolved this against me in the middle of the frog loop, I would get pulled back into reality as if I had been woken from a coma to find that the family I had spent the last 20 years raising was just a dream. I'm sure that people zone out when you start doing the frog loops, and if you ever interrupted the frog loop with, oh, and I'm going to play Hullbreaker Horror, so actually that's going to go back to your hand and that's going to go back to your hand. That is some immediate horror movie shit. It's the reason you marked it as spooky. Very reasonable of you. But I like it. Good job. Thank you for submitting it. We're going to move on to D2 Vincent. Spooky. I originally decided to get Rowan because she looked like an interesting reversal of Rakdos, Lord of Riots, who I also built a deck for but felt didn't go anywhere I really liked. A relatively simple deck that drains myself in order to pump up big dumb X spells for the win. There may be an infinite in here, I honestly don't remember, but there is 1 to 2 2-card combos in here. There is a Poison Dart Frog Observer. Pretty much, this is one of the only decks where every chat suggestion, Layla's been like, got it. We've had a couple where people have a lot of the suggestions, but everyone's like, but what about this fucking adorable frog? And Layla's like, check the tags. Every single time, bro has it. All right, Rowan, Scion of War, lovely little. It's fine if I cut myself so long as you get cut worse. We're going to make a new deck power level just for you that's labeled Stinky. Okay, big X spells. 14 is probably a little too many, but I'll let you cook for now. Fucking hell to pay, bro. Garruk's Wake, brother. Okay, so first things first, we have to compare the quality of your relative finishes. We have to do it. Because walk with me as we compare Exsanguinate, Torment of Hailfire, and Jaya's Immolating Inferno. All of these can kill the table. Next to these, you also have Hell to Pay, which can kill one creature. Comet Storm's also great. You also have Commune with Lava to just exile a lot. Maybe to dig. Hell, I'd accept this to dig for Exsanguinate. But I think Devil's Play is like Banefire, Devil's Play, Diabolic Revelation, Electro Dominance, and Rakdos' Return, in my mind, all suffer from the same problem, which is that Rowan wants to wind up for one really big punch. You are like a cartoon bulldog that's just seen a cat. And unless you have a lot of lifelink, so maybe I will be proven wrong because you'll have some type of like instance have lifelink, you'll have some type of life gain. But if you don't, Rowan's really good. It's going down like 20 to 30 life for that one big windup. And you do not have the facilities to pay for multiple instances of these spells. There's a couple of spell copiers in here for the purpose of casting multiple copies of the single target cards. So that does make sense. And it would cause me to ask you another question. If we are already accepting that we're playing at the power level where Jaya's Immolating Inferno or Torment of Hailfire is a reasonable win condition, why are we playing worse versions of this that need extra cards to make them good versus just playing more support for the ones that are good. If we only had one good card, I could see it from the perspective of, oh, I want a little variety in my life. But you have 4 or 5 that are really good. And then you have 9 that are like their cousin, that the first cards begged you to give them a job working at the Taco Bell. And now they're pissing in the Crunch Wraps. And you're like, oh, well, but if I let them smoke their vapes before their shift, they don't piss in the Crunch Wraps. We don't need them in the first place. Is really my question. So let's look at other drain. So this is a little bit of life gain. I don't know if I believe in this, mainly because it's a one-time effect, unless we have some as yet unseen blink things. Whenever you attack, drain based on how much you're draining. I buy Rite of Consumption. Sacrifice a creature, drain that much health. I believe if we were cheating out really big creatures, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, make a pest that when dies. I believe in that as a drain thing. I also really believe in Twilight Prophet. Yeah, Call of the Ring's decent. Casualty's pretty good. Damnable Pack is decent. Greven, this is really good life gain. Gets +X+0, which is life lost, and you can sacrifice a creature on attack, draw cards equal to toughness. Mark of Gristlebrand, lifelink. Creature dies, gain 1. So this has got to be you just want the Mishra Meld, yeah? You want this because big Power Rangers Dragon is dope? You can be honest with me. We're all friends here, D2. We're all friends here. You can just say you really wanted the Power Rangers Dragon. Underworld Connections is hot. Yeah, I wanted the meld. All right. I'll let you cook. It is cool. It's very raw. Listen, it's very raw. I won't suggest we take it out. Yeah, Villas is very good. Generic value. I don't really think we're spell slinging. And I don't know if returning random ones to our hand is all that good. When you cast your next, so you can copy stuff a bunch. Self-damage, 24. Incredibly responsible of you. Yes! Always mana barb them. Fuck these people. Fano, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Yeah, Zozu's decent. Oh my god, somebody's playing Break the Ice. You put this in midstream, didn't you? You put this in just to make fun of Calamity, didn't you? Admit it. I've seen your dark heart. I have seen your dark heart. You didn't? Oh my god. Hold on, how do I fucking print screen this? We're sending this. I'm DMing this to Calamity right now. That's fucking hilarious. They are Chaotic Evil. They are running the Dragon Engine. They specifically said they're running it for the meld. Dreadbore's fine. Yeah, I think so. So here's what you're going to do. We're going to make a deal, D2 Vincent. Either you're going to build a responsible deck or at least you're going to get a mommy in here. Sweet Cherry Boy JP, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the deck. God damn. Thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. There's two options here, because 14 of these is ridiculous. But if you want to use them, we need to use them in such a way that we're going to have the life to play more than one a game. We can't bank everything on being able to copy them when we only have like one spell copier in the whole deck. And so if we're going to do that, we want to do Judith so that the spell can have lifelink so that it can just replace itself. I think I might also have an extra Necropotence, but it's possible I cut it because I think it might non-bow. I just wouldn't include it unless you want the deck to go all the way to scary. Because right now the deck is trying hard enough to do different stuff that it's not horrifying. But it's very close to not being that. So we tap 3. Play this. So we get these two out. I don't think we want to dump our hand right now. We took 3. Donlon92, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. See, like, this is insane. This is not something you can do when you have 15 different win cons that don't all work well together. Havoc Festival is a card for I have Exsanguinate in my hand, and in every other situation you're just flipping the game, which is okay once or twice, but it's not something you want to build your entire deck around unless you like getting hit. A Singular Stick, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. I mean, I guess we're going bells it up. Okay, we put that in, lose a life. So we're down 4 this turn. Oh, we don't repeat. Okay. So we can get that in. Go down 5. But we don't have another red pip. So we lose 1 on upkeep. I think we just rip a massive Commune with Lava. So we lost 6. So we can pay 2, 4, 10. Yeah, I like this. Okay. So next turn we play this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've lost 7 life. We probably spend 2 of it on Mana Geyser. We get God knows how many. And then we Jayas, and then everybody dies. And do you see what's been sitting in our hand the entire time? Do you see what else has been sitting in our hand the entire fucking time? Keep this. You probably need this in half the games. But I think one thing you should probably get more comfortable with, that more people should get more comfortable with, is you can have multiple decks for the same commander that focus on different things. Because when your goal is, I want to subvert the IRS, there are a ton of different forms that can take. And this deck is not so far gone as to truly be multiple decks in a trench coat, but you have... like half this deck is about repeatably abusing Rowan's 1 mana like 1 to 2 mana of cost reduction, and then half this deck is about the big plays. And you can just have two decks. Nobody can stop you. You can print out more cards. And you can get one deck that is very, very robust at executing the gigantic X spell plan. And then you can get one deck that is very robust at copying these like medium X spells or medium big spells game plan. And right now, it's not that they're non-bowing each other, but you have some stuff that don't really support each other. Like Cardor, this is you got your ass beaten once and you panicked. This is some fresh Prince of Bel-Air behavior from you, except this is the aunt telling you to go live with your auntie and uncle up in Bel-Air. And Sedgemoor Witch even is way more about spell slinging than it is about charging up to a big nasty X spell. We cast like 4 or 5 instants or sorceries that entire game because we were just looking for the really big one. Oh, the mama who told you you're gonna live with your auntie and uncle. Correct, yes. Sorry. Cardor is mother. He's gonna go make you live with your auntie and uncle, who I presume this is your uncle and this is your new auntie. So you may have more fun splitting it into a lower power version and a higher power version. I think it's workable where it is, but it does really feel like all of these X spells that aren't exsanguinate or immolating, and all the X spells that can't hit everybody are placeholders that should probably be card draw or interaction or another type of synergy piece. I think Charmbreaker Devils, you're jamoking me. Same goes for Howl of the Horde, maybe. That one could work. What I love Greven. I love Mana Barbs. I love Zozu the Punisher. I love that you have the meld shit randomly in here. Like I would probably replace these. I would replace the X spells with Banefire, like Banefire, with more big spells like Apex of Power or big creatures. Because you don't really have that many massive hitters. Like motherfuckers like Villas is how I would play it, Vincent. But I do like the deck overall. You're talking crazy to me. You're talking so fucking crazy to me, bro. But I still believe in you, right? I'm still trying to. Because we have stuff like Disciple of Bolas and Greven, which really wants us to have a big creature to sacrifice to the effect. But we don't have... We have like one big creature we can sacrifice to it. And I think that's where we're going to cut it for this deck. We're going to move on to Mavanger, and we got to keep it moving because I have an appointment of my own to get to in a little bit. So D2 Vincent, thank you very much for submitting. I hope you enjoyed. I did enjoy the deck. So what you're saying is put in Nulamog. No irony, no exaggeration. Yes. Put in some stuff that is no fancy shit, no purgatory. If you let me cheat this much, someone is going to die. Decks need cards like that. All right, is it Spellslinger on a budget? Mizzix takes the nuclear option. This deck is the epitome of the night I entered a drug-fueled haze and discovered Commander in 2014. It's the legacy of a decade of tweaking the original Niv Mizzet Draco Genius deck that I built as a child. The goal is to flip Azor's Gateway and blast the table with Jaya's Comet Storm, with a few ways to win, coming in as a backup just in case I don't draw what I need. Now, I will say budget is almost always I'm going to pray no one interacts with me. Mana rocks, definitely. Hey, definitely. A blonde woman that can be beaten to death very easily, that's a mana rock. I think Lotus Blossom is crazy. I think Lotus Blossom is insane. Budget $200. Well, the fact that it's budget and these cards are all like $1 leads me to believe we have like $150 card holding this all together. Plan B. Oh! Oh! What the fuck did you submit this in? My budget? No wonder this is drug fueled. My budget backup win con is I'm going to chain extra turns together. You monster. Charm Breaker and Time Stretch. Absolutely fucked. So if we flip Azor's, yeah, we get 1,000,000 mana, and then we cast Comet Storm. We don't even need Mizzix to pull this one off. Oh, but we have untappers anyway, because fuck them. The protection. Okay, so we have 16 things to distract, dissuade, and otherwise make people despise us. Gutter Snipe. Discontinuity is so fucking rude. 6 mana, skip your turn is just... Oh god, what drugs were you on? Because this is like some bath salt shit. Core Augur, I don't even need to know what the Phyrexian says to know that this is the guy that says nobody has a hand size. And then we have Niv Mizzet Perrin in here, because of course we do. We have fucking Okaun in here for no... Okay. So, we have 2 discrete combos. That are then surrounded by random pieces of recycling and a really shiny piece of jewelry. So if there is a thing to fix with this deck, the thing to fix with the deck is that it is very much fragmentation grenade inside a pool noodle, but not lovingly. Zinder Split is in there. Hey, my goat, that's not enough. That's not good enough. Where's Krark's Thumb or whatever? Like, if we're going to do these two, I think we should really be... Like, there's not really a theme tying together this deck other than I like this combo. Because frankly, the Mizzix cost reduction probably doesn't matter at the point we're doing a add X where X is my life total multiple times into Comet Storm. Like, it's probably just not a, like, if that's what we want the deck to be about, it probably is better served with a different commander and a different stuff around it. So like Okaun is only in here in case you draw Zinder Split to keep coin flips going. Maybe? That seems like it. Like, Mavandra, my question would be, if this is what we want the deck to be, what is the reason behind not playing Riel and just wheeling ourselves away until we get to one of these two combos? Because the deck is completely bereft of things to do outside of these two combos. I don't think we have a way to get really enough mana. Like, I'll playtest it to be sure, but I don't think if we don't have Azor's Gateway, I'm not certain that we ever get enough mana to keep to put together some type of Mizzix win condition, which can just make the deck feel really disconnected. Like, it can feel deceitful in a way when you play against decks like this, where the commander's just kind of there and hanging out and not doing anything, and then the Avengers are assembled out of nowhere. But that is the life of the combo play. Like, from this position, the only thing that makes any reasonable sense is, fuck it, all of these go to bottom because I don't have any of my combo pieces. And the deck is incapable of doing anything. The deck is incapable of doing anything that doesn't involve resolving its combo pieces. And even this is now, we Blue Sun Zenith for 3 maybe? And like now we got Azor's Gateway. So now the game begins to be played. And if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we need to be real about what we're doing. We don't want to say, okay, this is the thing I really want to do, and then I'm going to pick all this really weak support so that the deck is on average fair. Like, the worst idea, and tangentially, this is also the idea that I hate, that I hate a point system for Commander. But if your deck is governed by what you think the average strength of it is, that actually says very little about how it plays. It says very little about how it feels to play against it, and it says even less about what types of decks it can match up against. On average, this deck is fair. If the deck starts with Azor's Gateway and Comet Storm in its opening hand, and you manage to counterspell any of the removal attempt, like the one removal attempt that's going to come through at a casual table, you just fuck everybody. Your commander never hits the table. You never need any of these mana rocks. You certainly don't need any of the card draw. And the draw is just here because the point of the deck is resolve this. Get to this. And if that's what you want to do, that is fun. But I would be about it. I would be about it. Love your jank. Love what you are about. Do not hide it behind other traditional is it win cons. And I think for this combo specifically, you would want Riel instead. Because all you're doing is I got to get to the door. I got to get to the door. I got to get to the gateway, and I got to start tapping it. And then you want everything. Like this untap stuff, you want every version of this. And all you want to do is try and resolve Azores and flip it on the same turn. And then the deck is going to get a lot stronger, but I think it will probably be more fulfilling than it is right now, because to me right now, the deck feels a little bit directionless unless we get the exact combo that we're looking for. And if we get the exact combo that we're looking for, we're doing so great. But like, I mean, I try not to run a lot of tutors, but should I consider dropping some of these assorted card draws for hard artifact tutors? I would do that too. I would still suggest revisiting if you have a legitimate reason to run Mizzix as your commander. Because if the goal is Azor's Gateway combo, you need tutor support, you need draw support, and you need untap support. And by the time you've supported all of those things, you do not have a lot of space left for the like cantripping, storming into big spell, big magic hammer go bonk game plan that Mizzix traditionally wants to do. And so I think tutors would benefit the 99, but the more I think about the type of 99 that an Azor's Gateway combo deck wants to have, the less I feel like Mizzix really wants to be in charge of that. He doesn't hurt it. Cost reducing instants and sorceries in Izzet is sick as fuck. But when you're comparing it to like Riel, Arjun, someone in chat said Aruth, anything that just like digs you through the deck at maximum speed, Mizzix typically loses out. And like, you build some truly disgusting combos, and I don't think you should be ashamed of that. I think you should be proud of it. Like, this is your X-Man quirk, and society is going to hate you for it, because it turns out your quirk is shitting directly into other people's mouths and once on Sundays chungling down. But you yourself should be proud of it, because we can teach you how to harness it and build around it appropriately and then bring it to the appropriate tables. But right now, a lot of this stuff is just like lost in the sauce of, oh, am I an Azor's Gateway deck, or am I a Mizzix deck that just has Azor's Gateway in it? And I think you're an Azor's Gateway deck, which is fine. Honestly, the life gain players, they deserve this. They deserve to have the Izzet players gain 35 life because they didn't swing at us because they thought they would be safe just because they have 70. And then 3 taps later, they die to the same shit that got the dinosaurs. That's great. But as I said, I think we got to be about it. It's lost in the sauce, and we need to find a way to make it soup. We need to thicken the broth a little bit. Yeah, start by swapping the commanders and then look for more things that say that's forgot about quotes. Like even Clever Conjurer, Captain of the Mists, all of this dog shit, because you want to make it so that when you resolve Azores, you can speed tap it. Because if you let people know that they have 5 turns of notice to need to do anything about you, it's just never going to work. It's not even going to be like, oh, but that makes it fair. It just makes it fair in the sense that you lose every game of Magic you ever play. which is not super fun for anyone involved. Yeah, on a good game, I can flip Azors in like 2 or 3 turns. That's exactly what we want, and we want to make that more reliable. We want it to be, if that's the combo you want to play around, we want to make it very reliable, that you get Azors out, that you get Untappers out, and they know what the fuck is up. Giving the table 5 turns to stop the frail nerd Izzet deck has almost never worked. Exactly. Like, you cannot let them catch you monologuing. This is who we are. This is who we are. We need to own it. And we need to play around our weaknesses instead of doing what he was doing and give a big old fucking speech about how we're going to get them, and they're going to feel so bad about trying to kill us with dinosaurs for all those games in a row. Yeah, so give that a shot. Switch the commander. Switch a lot of the like generic stuff. Like if you want to avoid getting punched for Azor's Gateway, maybe don't play Core Augur. And let me know how it goes. But thank you very much for the submission. We are going to end it there for today. So we're going to look for someone to raid. And we're going to be live again on Monday doing some Magic the Gathering Arena. Oh, but I don't think any of my friends are online. Oh no, none of my friends are online. If anybody has any raid suggestions, we will take them. If not... Oh, Ash Lizzle is live. If any of you remember Claw is Law, say Claw is Law. If you don't, say Claw is Law anyway. But be very, very nice. I think I've met them maybe once in person. They're nice. Be cool. I'll see you on Monday. And remember to stay